Song 2, Beetle Bum, Park Life. There are a lot of hits that Blur had. And there's one song that you and I have talked about for I don't even know how long, decades at this point. How is no one talking about this song? And of course, what we're going to talk about is He Thought of Cars off of the album The Great Escape. One of my all time favorite Blur songs. It has everything you want in a Blur song. It has Graham's quirky guitar. It has Damon's sort of melancholic writing and this emotional weight to it. It's like up there with everything else they've done. I've never heard anyone else talk about it. I don't see it talked about on like Blur forums. And yes, I do go on Blur forums sometimes, like the Reddit Blur thread. And I also never see it mentioned in live sets. Like they don't play it anymore, only when they were like promoting The Great Escape. Why this song got lost in the shuffle, I don't know. But you're all in on this as much as I am, right?
One of my favorite Blur songs of all time, maybe my favorite Blur song. I love Blur, so that makes this song one of my favorite songs of all time. I will say, I don't know if it was on my radar immediately, when we were teenagers listening to The Great Escape. I think it has such a hook. The, bridge is a great, or a chorus is a great chorus, but then that hook, the "na, na, 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 na," such a great hook. It's one of those songs that digs into you and you can't get it out. You gotta have more.
It feels like in many ways, and this is easy to do with The Great Escape. I think it's what critics do of The Great Escape is they look for parallels to other Blur songs. And there is, you and I spoke it about The Great Escape at length. It was the very first album that we both talked about when we started doing self-titled. And the thing that really stands out to me is there is a gear of Blur that is like, this is a low, I think is kind of in the same vein. And I don't know, maybe some people saw the parallel to a song like that, which is kind of considered a classic Blur song that you might be more likely to hear them play live. That's the problem that a lot of people have with The Great Escape in general. Of course, if you ever want to hear our thoughts on that, you can listen to that episode because we very much dive into it. You short the album, you short that song if you think of it through the lens of Park Life, and you're like, oh, this is the last of the Life trilogy, and it's derivative of Park Life, and all of that stuff, because the back end, it's so easy to see the front end of The Great Escape and be like, okay, let's look at the first four songs. Let's go up to the Universal. And it's like, wow. And then I think a lot of people just sleep on the second half of the album. But there's some really cool stuff in the second half of the album.
I feel like this song is kind of falls in the anthem category. You have this giant downbeat. The song just seems larger than life, and it has the components and the makeup of a really good Blur song. As you've mentioned, the melancholy verse, and then the super cool chorus that comes in with the interesting vocals that are playing back and forth, and then goes into the hook that is and what makes the song. And so I was thinking too while you were speaking, I think sometimes a band decides this song doesn't work on stage. When we play it live, it just we're not able to accomplish how what we want, and so then maybe the band stops playing it, or maybe they play it and it doesn't hit for the crowd, and then they're say, okay, well, it just doesn't make the cut. So then all of a sudden the band stops playing it. Then the song gets kind of forgotten. And so it's interesting to me how, some songs from artists I love and they're some of my favorites, and then the band seems to never play them anymore and they just kind of get lost. So do yourself a favor. If you're not familiar with this song, go listen to it. If you kind of dismissed it earlier, go back and try it again. I think you're going to love it.
Absolutely, it is a hidden gem in the gem-filled body of work that Blur has. If you like that, and if you want to hear us geek out about even more music like that, check out our episode on The Great Escape. Like the video, subscribe to the channel because we have plenty of this always in the works, buddy. It's been a pleasure, and well, I'm sure we'll talk about Blur soon because why not?
That's right. Why? It's a great way to spend your time talking about one of the greatest bands ever.